How's it going, guys? So in this video, I want to do a beginner's DIY, which is how to change the guitar string on your acoustic guitar. Now, I just bought this Taylor GS Mini used, so it's in beautiful shape, and the seller kept it in very good condition. However, what I noticed is the string that the seller used, it's already starting to have some rust over here and some bumps on the strings that I can feel when I was trying to learn guitar. And I'm a total beginner, so this is the first week I've owned the guitar, and I've already noticed those signs, which tells me I probably need to get the strings replaced to have better playability on this guitar. And again, a fantastic, I guess, entry-level guitar, because I've played some really low end, like entry-level $100 guitars and to $150 guitars, and they are just not comparable in terms of playability, the action height. This thing is just perfect for me as a beginner to learn on. Now, another weird thing that I noticed is, if you guys see over here, the seller actually used the nylon strings. Now, I did not know that we're not supposed to have a mix of nylon and metal strings. I just realized by watching some videos on Taylor's website on how to change strings, and that's what I realized. So I went to Taylor's website and I actually bought the recommended original string that the Taylor used, which is right here. I'm going to show you guys. Elixir medium weight 13 to 56 nano web strings. So with this, it should get this guitar back to manufacturer's recommended original specification. Okay, so, and I again watched the video from Taylor, and I'm gonna do it myself. First time DIY owning the guitar for the first week. Have no prior experience. I just want to see if I'm able to change the strings myself. Okay, you can see I'm putting it in the case so it doesn't get scratched or damaged. I think this is the best way, since the Taylor Mini GS always comes with a nice case. And one extra tool that I bought is this little, I guess, guitar string changer tool. It's got a little cutter at the top. I don't think you need the cutter. You might need it to cut the extra piece. However, I have a really good quality cutter for my bicycle cables, and this one is going to serve the purpose. I just don't trust those really cheap cutters. This one is about $6. The reason I bought it is because this little rotating piece, so I can unwind the strings. Okay, so obviously right now it's actually tuned. I am going to just loosen all the strings according to Taylor without actually taking the strings off. So figure out which way. I'm gonna lose it, and interestingly, so according to Taylor, I just need to lose this and lift this up so it doesn't have any tension on here, so I can lift the back piece and take the string out without much trouble. And that's what I'm gonna do. All right, so this one's loosened. I'm gonna continue loosening the other ones. And again, interestingly, this is to loosen it is actually, you have to turn, if you're facing the string, you have to turn it clockwise to loosen it. So with all the strings loosened, we are picking up those, I don't know how to call those pins. So with those pins picked up, it's very easy to get the string out. And as you can see, there are no tension, so the pin is not really flying out. I think I missed that part. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, so the pin is very easy to just lift up. You don't really need much, like the rest of the pin. I was using my hand But for this one is a little tough. It doesn't really come out. And this is what this tool is for. It's got a little pop-up thingy. You're just gonna pop it there and lift it up, and it all pops out, okay? So don't lose those. And again, the size of those pins are all same. So it doesn't really matter of the order. And you can probably upgrade those to a nice like bone pin or whatever that looks nice, but this plastic one works perfectly fine on my Taylor GS Mini. So, and again, just fishing all those things out, okay? Fishing it out. All right, guys, so now I am actually just gonna go ahead and show you how I clean the fretboard. Again, I'm not a guitar player. You might have other better conditioners or cleaners. I'm using my actually knife oil. This is a tea tree oil. Good for metals and as well as the wood cutting board. And again, this is a nice fretboard with genuine wood. So it should also apply to this wood very nicely and keep it conditioned and oiled so it doesn't dry out. Let's see. So what I'm gonna do is just apply a little bit of the oil and then just wipe through the whole board. And it might lift up some dirt, I don't know. Again, my first time. And as you can see, they actually polished the board really, really nice. Give it a nice shine on the board. And also removed some of the dirt, I believe. Now I doubt the seller used the high fretboards, but again, just coating everything nice and gentle so it looks better. And I'm being specifically careful around the frets because I think this is where a lot of dirt accumulates. So I'm just gonna try to gently polish around those areas a little bit more. And I think we're about done. Very nice. All right, now the whole fretboard looks beautiful, okay? It's got quite a lot of oil. I would say I would let it soak for just a little bit, and then I'm gonna just do another polish without a piece of paper that had oil on it, so it doesn't oversaturate. Actually, I'm gonna do it right now. All right, it's pretty clean, as you can see, like nothing super dirty. The previous owner was a lady. I believe she maintained it quite well, okay? And now it's, again, also a good time to just clean everything else. Let's see. Okay. So with this out of the way, we are going to restring. Now, one important thing, and I think everybody should also check according to Taylor, is before every stringing, make sure to tighten this little nut so it holds the die cast piece in place and it doesn't move around. That in turn could keep your guitar in tune for a lot longer. The nut is a size 10, so I'm gonna go grab a size 10 wrench and we're gonna just tighten everything, double check to see if it actually was loosened or not. All right, I'm gonna zoom in on the nuts. And again, you need a 10mm wrench. You don't necessarily need a rotating one. You can have just like a hand type with a little adapter. Also works. Okay, but you do need this tool, a additional tool to tighten and check the nut tightness, okay? And right off the bat, I can tell you it already was pretty loose. So again, I'm just tightening everything. Wow, this one is really loose. Just making sure it's nice and tight, so again, strings stay in tune just a little bit longer. This one is pretty loose as well. All right, so everything's nice and tight. Now we are ready to actually install the string. Again, I'm using factory string. They said, the tailor said, you can experiment with different kinds of strings, but medium sounds great on this little guitar, okay? So that's what I'm gonna do. This is nano web coated, so anti-rust supposedly. Let's see. We are taking all the strings out, and it's very nice that they laid it out for you. So this is the high E, so I'm just gonna take everything out piece by piece. Okay. Again, I forgot to zoom out. Here we go. And the string does jump around, so just be a little careful. I am going to just drop it in there. And we're gonna do the pins in a little bit. All right, next string. Again, those are very pokey, so be careful it doesn't jump and hit your eyes, okay? Because this would be actually a hazard if it hits your eyes. And just drop it in there. And we will pin them all together at the same time. 6. Oh, this string is beautiful. Like the string that I replaced was pretty dark, so I would say it's probably already pretty oxidized, and this one just looks in fantastic condition. This is like a brand new string. Now, I was reading, a lot of places say replace your string every 3 months if you play quite a lot as an amateur or you're learning. We'll see. I'll come back and do an update, let you guys know what I think. Since this is my first week learning guitar. And those strings are actually beautiful. It's like a copper colored string. I believe it's bronze or whatever is coating that they use. But very nice strings. All right, we go to the A string. We have 2 more strings to go, and then we will start the tightening process and drop the pin in there. Last, the low E string. Again, a beautiful string. Love this color. All right, be really careful. This thing, if it hits your eye, it might scratch your cornea, which will be really bad, okay? So just be careful. All right, all the strings are in place. The next step, according to Taylor, we're gonna drop the pins in there and we're gonna actually give it some tension so the pin locks in place, okay? I don't want to lose all the pins. I'm gonna do it one by one. And there is a little groove in those plastic pins. You are supposed to line up the groove here with the string, and then according to Taylor, you have to drag it and make sure it locks in place, okay? Otherwise, it's gonna pull the string out, okay? So let's see. All right, now it actually locks in place. We're gonna do the next one. And they said you need to hear a actually pretty loud click for it to lock. All right, so here we go. Okay, locked. Last one. This one's pretty thick. Okay. All right, all locked. Okay, so if I pull this, like nothing would pop out like crazy. Okay, so next we will start stringing those, and the way they did it is they went here, they did the measurements, and they cut from here, and then just put the thing in here from the inside. Of course, always put it from inside, and you're gonna turn it counterclockwise to lock everything in place. So I'm gonna try to learn from them and do the same thing. If you're not comfortable with cutting it short, you can always bend it just a little bit. According to Taylor, I'm gonna cut it short somewhere here. Okay, and let's see. So supposedly you need to add some tension here and just make sure this thing is gripped in the hole, and then you're gonna start turning. So I hope I'm doing it correctly. Yes. And again, you're gonna turn it counterclockwise, and the string goes from the outside to the inside. I'm sorry, from the inside to outside. A little hard to do on the other side, so let me come over here if I can do it properly. First time, always think it's easy, but obviously it's not as easy as you think. All right, I'm giving it a little tension, and I'm gonna just use my lag and start turning. And again, I'm keeping the tension, and I want to make sure that the string goes lower on the board. And I think we're getting there, okay? And you also want to make sure it actually lands in the little, I don't know how do you call it, the nut bridge. Okay, and make sure it's nice, tightened. So the problem I have is the string actually keeps coming up. Let's see. I think it should hold itself in place for now before we're gonna go give it a tone. So the first string installation is actually complete. We're gonna do the next one. Again, using the method of going one extra long and then just cut it and then rotate it. Let's see. So I think once you do the first one, the rest of the string would be easier. Like always, first time is the hardest. And as you can see, my technique is a lot more or fluid, I would say, even just for the second string. Again, make sure the string lands on the bottom of each other, and make sure your tension is right and your pin is not popping out. So as long as you apply a certain amount of pressure, it should go down layers by layers fairly nicely. Okay. And just make sure they are layered nicely. They're not like stacking on top of each other. Again, lots of pressure. Those small strings seems to need a lot of pressure to get them go the way you want. And maybe that's why she switched to nylon strings, because those seems like so much easier to install. All right, we're getting some good tension and everything is very nice and tidy on the nut. And we are just going to apply the last amount of pressure. Make sure the pin is not falling out and just try to get it in place. And then we can probably tune it at the very end. Seems to be done. Okay, so that's pretty much the basic steps in getting the guitar string changed. And what a night and day's difference. Like the old string is really rusty, oxidized, and it also had some round strings on the guitar. Now with the new one, with the Taylor recommended strings, it seems to be, it seems like it's going back to its normal, original, like new glory. Let me tune the guitar really quick, and then we will come back and just conclude and give you guys a few tips on where you really have to pay attention when you do your first guitar string change on your Taylor guitar. Okay guys, so I just quickly tuned the guitar, but with brand new strings, especially metal strings, you'll have to stretch the strings just a little bit. So I see what they did from the Taylor string change video is they pretty much just lifted up each strings where you have enough space to like hold one finger at the bottom, and they just lifted each strings up, and then they tuned it again, and they did this at least 2 times. Okay, so I think after the second time the string is fully stretched and you should be able to play it normally. So in conclusion, string change as a beginner, first time ever, is not very hard. You need some proper tools, which I'm going to show you guys at the link at the bottom of the description area. You need those tools to be able to successfully change the string and service your guitar. Okay, most important is the nut wrench, or like a nut turner. This thing is very, very cheap. Mine is like $7. It's got a cutter. I tried the cutter. It actually works fine on the thinner strings. I didn't try it on the thicker string. I mean, I can try it right now. See 2 of the thicker strings, how it works. I mean, it actually works fine. Okay, so yeah, spend that $7. Get a cutter and a combination tool for the nut. You also need correct strings. If you don't know, manufacturer's website usually lists the default string that they use. In my case, for the Taylor GS Mini, it's the Elixir Nano Web 1356 medium string. Okay, it's a string set, all metal. You don't want the string to be mixed with nylon and metal. That's bad from what I read. But according to Taylor, you can also experiment with different strings. But for the GS Mini, it's a smaller size guitar, and they recommended medium for that more fuller sound. You can experiment with lighter strings, which is gonna make playability a little bit better. I wouldn't probably recommend heavy, especially if you're a beginner like me. I think medium is already a little tough for me, okay? So that's one trick. Another thing is on the thinner strings, make sure when you tighten it, you apply a good amount of pressure, okay? Otherwise, the string is gonna bounce all over and you might need to have to restring it with a brand new string. On the thicker strings, you don't have to apply so much pressure, but again, I can see that the pressure actually helps. On the nut side, I would say always have backup nuts, backup pins, and those plastic pins, I don't feel like they're very good quality. They actually bounce around quite easily. I think my next upgrade, I'm probably gonna replace those with bone pins or other better quality pins that would actually hold in place a little better. But for now, I was able to tune it, I was able to string it, and I was able to tighten everything. So no issues. Another thing, quite optional, but I think quite necessary, is especially if you're buying a used guitar and you're changing the strings, is to have a 10mm or whatever size millimeter wrench that you have, to make sure you tighten those nuts on the top so they stay in place, they don't get loose, and they would actually stay in tune quite a lot longer compared to if you're just working and tuning on a very loose nut, and that would be bad, okay? That's one thing I think is also quite important to do every time you change your guitar. One thing optional, cleaning your fretboard. Used guitars usually is very dirty. I used tea tree oil, and again, this is what I use for my cutting board and my knife. You can use whatever other guitar conditioning, fret conditioner, you know, for the guitar, or whatever oil that they recommend. At Taylor, I think they used the linseed, the boiled linseed oil. So that's your option here for cleaning the fretboard. It's always a good time to clean it after you change the string, okay? And that's pretty much it. I'm gonna continue enjoying my guitar, and probably after I get familiarized with the guitar a little bit more, I could come back and give you guys actually a review of the guitar, what I think about using this guitar as a beginner's guitar, okay? So hope you guys found the video helpful. If you did, please do hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Obviously, I will eventually have more guitar learning related videos coming out. So thanks again, and see you in the next video. Take care.